Hi, welcome to my new video. In this video I'm going to talk about working with multiple drives, external HDDs, SSDs, etc. Let's go. Now, whenever you're trying to set up your Linux computer and you are working with multiple drives, there will be some issue you might encounter. Because now, unlike Windows for example, other drives are not set up the exact same way as they are Windows, etc. Now, how do you solve this issue? Now, most Linux distros, and for example Fedora Workstation, comes pre-installed with disks. That is the name of the program. If you're working on an Arch distro, you need to install this package. It's not a hassle, it's one of the pre-installed programs. But what you need to know is how do you set this up, how do you work with it, etc. Because the prime issue you are going to have, you wanna set these other drives up so they are mounting into your system on boot. Now, how do you do this? It's very simple with this program, because originally you needed to enter the FS tab, go into the system configurations and make some changes there. This is not what we are going to do. It's really easy. But in order to do this, there are basically three important steps. The first important step is to create a mount point. A mount point is a folder at first it's just a folder you create. It sounds stupid, but let me explain. Here I am on my desktop. Now, as you can see, I have here multiple drives. This here is the root drive, the boot drive. Or the boot drive, because it's the drive on which the operating itself, the root directive, is installed to. Now I have so many external drives, and of course I can just click on them and then legitimize to mount this. This is not how I want to operate with it, because what I want to do is I want to permalink them. And how do I do this and what do I mean with this? Now I want to permanently have these other drives linked into the system, the main system itself. Now, how are we doing this? Now there are multiple ways. One of them is you can enter the FS tab, add some system settings, etc. But this is way too complicated and not how I want to deal with this. I'm going to do a way easier route. So what I'm going to do now, -s gnome-disk-utility password. So now search it. Now it's either named disk or Laufwerke, depending on the language of your system. And now you come to this window here. Now this is important, but now before we continue to work with this program here, we are going to create a mount point, a mount root folder, however you want to call it. So what we are going to do, we go into the root directive and we are going to create a folder here. Now if we right click, you can see create new has been grayed out. Why is this the case? Because your system doesn't give you full access to your root directive, because this is where system settings are. So it's to protect you from yourself. But don't worry, there's an easy way around it. Open terminal here and then sudo make directive, and then the folder you want to create, then password, then ls. Then you can see here drives is available, and also here. Now what I'm going to do, I'm gonna enter the drives folder. You can just double click it and open terminal again here. It doesn't really matter. If you press pvd, you can see I'm in the drives folder. Now I have 3 external drives, 4 in total. And what I'm going to do, for each extra drive, I'm going to create its own folder. So sudo make directive. We have Samsung. Then we have Micron, in my case, and VD. And you can see all of them are popping up here. Then we can close them. Because, for example, if you're working with some programs, they only have access to the boot drive, from which, you know, the Linux distro is working from. And there are no external drives accessible to you. But what you can do is to create inside the boot drives a mount folder, drives folder, name it however you want. And then I will show you all the different steps. And inside this folder you create different folders for each of the external or internal drives of your system. So good, so fine, we have just created folders, nothing special here. What you can also see, I was working inside the root directive. The root directive is the highest you can get on the Linux distro in your directive tree. Directive tree is what tells you, for example, if a certain program is inside a folder, which is inside another folder, which is inside another folder, and the path to access this program is the directive tree. Simple as that. And the root directive is the highest you can get. You cannot get a folder higher, because other than this you have the bare metal. What we need to do, we're going to open the disk program, and then we are just going to mount these drives inside the mount point we have created earlier. It's just really simple. You just, you know, click and copy paste in the certain directive trees in there. I will show you, do not worry. And that's it. Now, one last thing you need to do is gain ownership. Gain ownership is so you have the proper permissions to work with these external drives, which obviously you will need. And this is the setup, how you work with it. Now, let's open the disk folder. The disk-utility program. Now, here you can see my 1 terabyte. This is this here. Now, if I go into edit mount options here, then you can see the system could not work correctly if you change anything here. What's this to say? This is the root directive, or the root drive, to properly call it. Which means we are not going to change anything on this drive here, only on the other drives. Now, for example, let's go into drives folder. At first, the Samsung SSD I've created a Samsung folder. Click in there, it's empty, obviously. But what we are going to do now, edit mount options. Then presets, we are going to disable this. Then link by mount by system start, enable this one. Then copy, just easy. Now on top of here, double click. And yeah, then you can copy the path. What we're going to do, copy this path into mount point in here. And then press OK. Then your password. Then open again. Gain ownership. Activate recursive mode. Yes, okay. Password again. And the same thing with the other drives. Edit mount options. So just have this one enabled and copy the proper mount point you want to have. Gain ownership. Activate recursive mode. And again, this one here. And again on this one, gain ownership, activate recursive mode. Because now the boot up on system boot, so the mount into your system at system boot up, and you have no problem installing external Steam games, audio sample libraries, etc. So yeah, this is how you work with external drives. Thanks for watching this video. I hope this video was kinda helpful to you. Keep working, because there's still much to do. And go read BERSERK.